To a very special edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is good old MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio and Michael Bullock. And guys, we are gonna dive right in. We got a big night ahead of us. First off, we'll talk about AEW All Out. Then we'll get into NXT that went down last night, and then of course, AEW Dynamite tonight, dubbed Homecoming, as it was in Cincinnati, Ohio. So we got a lot to talk about here. So let's start off with AEW All Out. That went down on Sunday night from the Now Arena in Chicago, Illinois. Well, they call it Huffman Estates, Illinois, which is, I guess, a suburb of Chicago. We started it off with Miro going one-on-one with Eddie Kingston for the TNT title. Miro wins the match. Come in 13 minutes and 22 seconds. And look, I will openly say this. This was an excellent match. Very good to start off the show. But I hated the ending of this match. This is something that was, I'm sorry, it was not good. Okay. The ending of it was it almost felt like something you see from Impact Wrestling. It felt overbooked. So basically, the turnbuckle pad got taken out. Basically, Eddie Kingston hits his finisher, hits a DDT, goes for the 1-2-3, and Ross Remberg, who was the referee, basically just looking, trying to put the turnbuckle back. The fans in Chicago went ballistic. They were yelling, yo, pin. So they went at it. You got a 2 count, and then the crowd in Chicago went full IWC. I can't even repeat what they said, out of respect for some of the younger viewers on the show. So let's just say it was very Chicago-like. Let's say that. Then you had a tie up in the corner. Miro hits him with a low blow. Mashka kick. 1-2-3. Match over. Miro wins. Man, it was about a 3.5-star match, but man, I hated the ending. And out of everything that went down, this was probably, there's a couple of nitpicks here and there on this show. This was the biggest nitpick for me, and one of the biggest problems I had with AEW, with the AEW event. This event was amazing, and we'll get into it all. But this was one of those moments that really annoyed me more than anything else. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Well, I'll tell you, MF, it was a 3.5-star match, but I'm bumping it down to 3 because of that BS finish. This was a hell of a Jim Ross approved slobber knocker, or in this case, a hell of a good old MF approved be a man fight. Champion and challenger beat the life out of each other, with Miro showing his dominance and Kingston fighting from underneath like the gutsy anti-hero he is. The finish was very convoluted and took away from the rating, but it did protect Kingston and gave him a reasonable out. Furthermore, it sets up a potential rematch down the line if AEW prefers to go that route. Solid, hot start to the night's event. So 3.5 overall, but because of that BS finish, it's down to 3. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Phenom, it's all yours.
Yeah, I'm with Florio. I mean, if it wasn't for that BS finish, I would give it 3.5. But because of it, I'm sorry, I can only give it 3 stars. I mean, it was a slobber knocker. It was a really good match, but man, that finish really, really rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, the referee was putting the turnbuckle pad on, and Kingston literally had the victory, and the fans are literally screaming at him, pin, pin, pin. And it took a while until that knucklehead ref finally turned around and basically went for the pinfall. And then Miro, what else would you expect? Took a cheap way out, basically, with the low blow. The referee didn't see it, the Machka kick, and he gets the win. And everybody would tell Miro that was a cheap victory, but you know what his response will be. You win any way you can, by hook or crook. And if it means winning it by crook, so be it. I play by my rules, not the rules of your so-called heroes. I'll bet you that's what he would probably say. So if it weren't for the BS finish, I give it 3.5, but because of it, it's 3 for me. Fletch, it's yours.
Then we had Jon Moxley versus Shigeru Koyama, and it was Jon Moxley winning the match in 11 minutes and 50 seconds. Solid match, but then the fun began. The forbidden door swung open again, and this time we got probably the biggest name that just went through the forbidden door. New Japan Pro Wrestling's own, the king, the leader of Suzuki-gun, Minoru Suzuki. Derek Ferreira and myself absolutely lost it. We went nuts. Anthony Florio, you heard the crowd. You heard what Excalibur and Jim Ross was saying. Minoru Suzuki went through the forbidden door and got some of Jon Moxley.
Yes, he certainly did. And I'm not at all surprised to hear that you and Derek marked out for an MF, because as we all know, MF and Derek, they are the exclusive. They are our exclusive New Japan commentary team. MF as the Jim Ross, of course, and Derek would, in this case, like the Josh Barnett and whatnot. But MF and Derek, they are our authorities on New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm sure MF's gonna drop that 96, 97 JR knowledge on Minoru Suzuki in a moment or so. But nonetheless, 3 to 3.25 stars for this. There was nothing pretty or flashy about this, but it was a fine physical match between two old vets who have done everything else there is to do in pro wrestling. The physicality between the pair escalated until Moxley was able to put Kojima down for the count. The arrival of Minoru Suzuki was met with a thunderous ovation of shock and awe, and their exchange was superb. And a match between the two figures to be among the hottest on any card following this angle. And oh, by the way, spoiler alert, we got that match tonight on AEW Dynamite, and we're going to save that for the very end of the show. But for right now, this was 3 to 3.25 stars. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, nothing flashy or pretty about this, but I think the post-match was what we're going to remember more from this match.
Yeah, nothing flashy about this match. I mean, it was still good for what it was, 3 to 3.25 stars, but yeah, that crowd basically went nuts when Menorah Suzuki came out and, yeah, got the best of Jon Moxley. And, yeah, this is a match I'm sure everybody wants to see. And, yeah, like you said, we got it tonight, and we're going to talk about it when we review AEW Dynamite. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
Yeah, this was about a 3.5 star match. This was a solid battle. Back and forth it went. The outcome was never in doubt, although I think Moxley was definitely the favorite going in, and I was not surprised that Moxley won. But then Minoru Suzuki, I mean, New Japan, you know him from Pride Fighting Championship. He was the former Noah heavyweight champion of the world, New Japan, which is Pro Wrestling Noah, which is actually one of the rivals of New Japan. And he is without a doubt, like Jim Ross said, he is one of the guys you do not trifle with. This is one of those guys. He relishes pain. He relishes this. Like what you saw tonight on AEW Dynamite, and we'll get into that, is basically Suzuki's MO. He will smack you, he will punch you, he will kick you, he will try to choke you out. His style is MMA. He is a shoot fighter. He is not anything, there's nothing fancy. He will not, he's not a high flyer. He will ground you, he will beat you down, and if he needs to, he will break you. He'll break an arm, he will break a leg, he does not give a damn about anything or anyone. This guy, he will beat anybody up. He beats up these poor young lions in New Japan. Some of the attendants that's at ringside, I mean, he doesn't care. Menorah Suzuki is a straight up killer. And when I heard the music and when he came out, the thing in my mind was, Mox, you better get out of there or else you're going to get your butt kicked. And sure enough, Moxley got on that one. So, man, it was a jump off. And, man, it was something to see. But, all right, guys. So, next up we had was Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Chris Statlander. The AEW Women's World title on the line. And Dr. Britt Baker successfully defends the title in 11 minutes and 34 seconds. Michael Bullock, it is all yours.
Yeah, I mean, it was a solid match. Yeah, it was a solid match here. I mean, the outcome to me was never in doubt. I mean, you know, they wanted to keep the title on Dr. Britt Baker here, so I'll give this about another 3-star effort. So nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
3 stars, solid match, good battle. I think it could have been a lot more. It could have been a little more better, but you know, for what it was worth, I think the women really went out and gave us an excellent match. No shame for Chris Statlander losing in this one. She looked strong in a losing effort, and Dr. Britt Baker gets yet another big victory. Now, you know, we got a lot of contenders now that can get a shot at the AEW Women's World title, because with more of these people starting to come into AEW, you're starting to sense that the women's division is starting to become more complete. It's becoming whole now. It's looking a lot better than it did about a few months ago, where we were saying that AEW's women's division was a liability a few months ago. It is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. It has improved by leaps and bounds now, that with all these influx of new talent, with the Forbidden Door being threatened at any turn now, the AEW women's division is starting to become that elite division for themselves, and it's starting to and I think we can openly admit it's starting to look like they can now challenge the NXT women, the WWE women, the Impact women, the Ring of Honor women. They're starting to rise up where they can say, hey, we're just as good now. We can do this. So, I mean, I think the expectations have gotten a little more higher, Anthony Florio, with the influx of women that is starting to join the AEW women's division. You know, once we thought was a liability, maybe an afterthought. Oh no, there's no more afterthoughts. They're pretty much proven to us that you just had to give us time, and it looks like that time was well worth.
Yeah, absolutely. There were 2 big takeaways from this one. It was incredibly refreshing to see Dr. Britt Baker win a match clean, and this was easily Chris Statlander's best performance to date in AEW. Baker has won so many matches with the assistance of Rebel that to see her win without assistance from her or even Jamie Hayter was welcome. It was the latest step in her evolution. She is a champion who can win on her own, is at peak confidence, and fears no challenger. That makes her even more dangerous and an even more credible title holder. I believe Statlander is going to be champion one day. She's too good not to. Her time will come, and management will feel even more confident in her in that role with performances like this one. She left no doubt that she belongs in these title encounters. Like Baker, she has grown in leaps and bounds in a short period and should help become one of the pillars of the AEW women's division for the foreseeable future. So I definitely agree. Solid 3-star effort, no doubt about that. And they're on their way. So not much more to say. Oh boy. Get ready, folks. Spoiler alert. This one ended up doing something we didn't think it could do. It stole the dang show and ended up overshadowing some of the big marquee matches, including the one in particular.
It was the steel cage match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. It was the Lucha Bros going up against the champion, the Young Bucks, the winners of the bout in 22 minutes and 5 seconds, and new AEW World Tag Team champions, Penta El Zero Miedo, Rey Fénix. The Lucha Bros wins it all. This is 5 stars plus. Fight of the night. Greatest steel cage match in AEW history. And you could even say it. The greatest tag team match ever in AEW. This had everything. The battle was amazing. The fight was incredible. It went back and forth the whole way through. You know, we were afraid that maybe they give it to that they let the Young Bucks go through. Maybe they give another team another opportunity. No, it ends right here. The Bucks loses the belts to the Lucha Bros, and let me tell you, what a moment for them. Great victory, great moment for them. And yeah, I mean, this was an incredible match, to say the very least. But in my opinion, the right team won. At the end of the day, history was indeed made, and a crowning of brand new AEW World Tag Team Champions. I mean, there's no argument here. You could even make an argument right now that this could be the fight of the year for 2021. Anthony Floyer, with that said, it is all yours, my friend.
And with that, we have our match of the year for 2021. Anyone who has seen the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros battle before knew what to expect. We knew it was going to be wild and chaotic with feature spots fans could never dream of. We knew the two teams would go, pardon the pun, all out to settle their feud. A crowd extraordinarily into the challengers' spots, impossible for any other performer to possibly execute in a stronger story than we have seen out of the teams before, helped elevate this beyond even their greatest encounters. The emotion of Penta protecting his younger brother only for Fénix's fearlessness to be the deciding factor in the match was a nice touch. The Bucks pulled out every trick they could, resorting to the underhanded tactics that have defined their reign. But last Sunday night, it simply wasn't enough to squash the spirit of the challengers. What a match and an even cooler moment. 100% agree. 5-star classic. There's not much more to say. Michael Bullock, fight of the year for 2021?
Yeah, damn right. It's the fight of the year for 2021 after what I saw. 5 stars, fight of the night, fight of the year. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, like you said, anybody that has seen these two wrestle before knew that this was going to be something special, and boy howdy, they delivered. And you know what? Good for the Lucha Brothers. I mean, they've come close so many times, and for them to finally get their moment as AEW World Tag Team Champions, you couldn't be more happier for Penta and Rey Fénix. And they are certainly worthy of it. And yeah, I mean, but then again, kudos to both teams for putting on a match that we're all going to be talking about for a long, long time. So 5 stars, fight of the night, fight of the year. there's really nothing more to say except Fletch. Let's move on, even though it's tough for us to move on after seeing a match like this.
Yeah, then it was the women's casino battle royale. After that, we started off with the clubs, as it was Hikaru Shida, Sky Blue, Emmy Saraka, the Bunny, and Abaddon. Then we had the Diamonds. That was Anna Jay, Kira Hogan, Kylan King, Diamante, and Nyla Rose. The Hearts was Thunder Rosa, Superbad Penelope 4, Rio, Jamie Hayter, and Big Swole. And then the Spades ended up being Ty Conte, Red Velvet, Legit Layla Hirsch, Jay Cargill, and Rebel. And the Joker was Ruby Soho. Yes, you know her as Ruby Riott, formerly of WWE. It came down to Ruby Soho and Thunder Rosa at the end. Ruby Soho wins the Battle Royale. She is now the #1 contender for the AEW Women's World Title. She will get a shot sometime down the line. She won it in 22 minutes even. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
And who had this one?
He did. You did.
MF?
Yeah, you called it. You called it.
I was just waiting. That's all. All kidding aside, battle royales are tough to predict. Or I should say tough to rate, rather. Oh, and by the way, who also had the Luchas winning the tag team titles? I also had that as well. And Bullock, I think, was with me on that as well. So, but this was just the beginning of a banner night for me. And that's all there is to say on that in so many ways. But the Soho surprise was excellent, as was her finishing sequence with Thunder Rosa. And AEW continues to find ways to keep Rose relevant, or Nyla Rose relevant. The effort was there across the board, and the crowd was into several of the participants, most notably Anna Jay and Ty Conti. With all that said, it was still clear there was a lack of direction for the women's division beyond the immediate title picture. We heard commentator Excalibur attempt to fill fans in on stories like the one involving Big Swole and Diamante, but the division is so inconsistently presented that this felt a little too much like wrestlers fighting for the sake of punching and kicking and little else. With Rampage presenting another hour of TV, we have seen some more talent utilized. Hopefully that helps bring some attention and vision to the division, because the pieces are there and fans are invested. Now it's time for those in charge to hold up their end of things. I know I'm probably severely underscoring this, but it's a battle royal. It's very tough to predict, so please cut me some slack. 2.5 to 3. That's the best I can go on this. So, but then again, like I said, they're tough to rate. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, wouldn't you agree that battle royals, of whether it's men's or women's, battle royals are always tough to rate?
Oh yeah, I mean, it is tough to rate. I don't know where Fletch stands, but we'll definitely get to his rating. But as far as my rating, I'll give it an even 3 stars. I mean, it was fine. I mean, it really wasn't anything special. I mean, yeah, Ruby Soho showing up was no surprise. We knew this was going to happen. And yeah, now Ruby Soho now gets her shot at the AEW Women's World Title somewhere down the line. And I'll tell you what, guys, I really hope that they treat her better than the way she got treated in WWE. I mean, she should have had at least numerous opportunities at the women's title in WWE, but yeah, she got treated the same way with some of the other wrestlers got treated. So I'm really hoping and praying that she gets her moment, but we'll wait and see. So, Fletch, it's yours. It's a 3-star effort for me, and like I said, I really hope they make Ruby Soho so good in AEW than the way she was treated in WWE.
The only problem is right now is that Ruby will get her opportunity. I just don't see her winning the title. I mean, I just don't think that they're gonna put the belt on her this quick, this fast against an established talent like Dr. Britt Baker. I mean, that would be a gutsy call, but would it be the right call? That's the question that I think we all have to think about. At the end of the day, yes, it'd be great to see her win it, but I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. 3 stars, I'll agree with it, but I kind of felt like this was actually better than what you guys are. I know it's tough to call and rate and even predict, but I thought this was fine. I thought the battles that they had, they developed a few storylines that were definitely there. Of course, Diamante versus Big Swole has been going on. If you watch Elevation and Dark, you know that they've been going at it for a little while now. There was one thing that did break out with the Bunny and Penelope Ford and her thing. There was a couple of battles going on in that one too, because you got with Ty Conte, you got a little thing with Red Velvet going on. So there's a few battles going around, and now with Anna Jay back, and you saw when Anna and Ty worked together. Oh boy, that is dynamite. No pun intended, but it is. So I mean, we'll wait and see what happens. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. Then the next thing that we had was Chris Jericho versus MJF. Jericho wins the match via submission. 19 minutes, 30 seconds. Michael Bullock, you get one of the highlights of the night. I know how much you love MJF. Man, you must have been a proud man to see him tap out like a beep.
Yeah. Nothing made me more happier than to see that little piece of crap known as MJF get his comeuppance, and Chris Jericho made that little bitch cry by basically making him submit. So yeah, 3.5 stars is my rating. I mean, I thought it was a really good match here. I mean, you obviously knew that they had to have Jericho go over here because in the previous encounters, it's always been MJF, and you knew that it was only a matter of time before Jericho got one up on MJF, and that's what we saw right here. So his in-ring career in AEW continues, but all kidding aside, I mean, as much as I hate MJF, I mean, I don't think the loss will affect MJF whatsoever. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Yeah, we're going to be hearing Judas a lot more, Fletch, now that his in-ring career continues, as I give it to you.
Great moment for Chris Jericho. He gets a big win here. One of the reasons why, and one of the main concerns I had for Jericho was because of the fact that, yeah, there was talk that Fozzy was about to leave or go on and leave and whatever. And at the end of the day, I kind of felt like, maybe they'll let MJF get the win on this one just to elevate him even more, because without a doubt, he is one of the top heels, if not the top heel in AEW. And I really thought that they were going to give him that moment, but no, they said Jericho gets the win, which is fine, whatever. I mean, I know how popular Jericho is and everything else. And I do sense that it's going to come to a point where Jericho is going to wind down his at least in-ring career, but he's got so much after that in his career that I think if you're a Chris Jericho fan, you got to be, you're ecstatic. This is the outcome that you wanted. This was the thing that you were hoping for. You got what you wanted, and that's a big win. So you got the victory here. You move on. There's really nothing more to add. So so let's move on. Anthony Florio, I know this was you called for Jericho's victory here, yes, and you got it. You got the victory. He not only won it, he made MJF tap out. Which, oh, by the way, other than the loss to John Moxley, this was his second ever loss in a one-on-one match in AEW.
Yep, I called this as well. I mean, like I said, banner night. I mean, I called Ruby Soho winning the Casino Battle Royale. I called the Luchas to win the World Tag Team titles. They did that. And this is actually where Michael Bullock agreed with me. He didn't agree with me on any of the other two, but he agreed with me on this one. We both agreed that Jericho was going to win this one. MF, you had that hunch about MJF because of some dirt sheets that you read. Obviously, you were misinformed there. That's all there is to say there. So, anyways, Chris Jericho and MJF have had better matches than this one, but it did have a hot crowd and two performers confident enough in their story to elicit the desired reaction. Hope spots were great, with MJF manipulating the crowd when necessary and the Chicago faithful wanting to see Jericho win and continue his in-ring career. It was a masterclass in crowd psychology and knowing exactly what to do and when. It'll be interesting to see where MJF goes from here. The last time he lost a major singles match was a year ago at the same pay-per-view, and it gave way to the Jericho program. Look for him to recover and find his next feud fairly quickly, perhaps as soon as tonight on Dynamite. And oh, by the way, I think he just may have. Wait till you hear who that's going to be against. You'll never believe it. Anyways, as for Jericho, it would behoove him and AEW to go away for a while to rediscover that specialness that accompanies top stars. The Five Labors gimmick had him in the ring, wrestling main event matches almost every week. He is too special for his star aura to be erased due to overuse. Let things breathe and bring him back for another high-profile feud. 3.5 stars. I agree with the rating, so let's move on.
Next up, we had was CM Punk versus Darby Allin. CM Punk wins the match in 16 minutes and 40 seconds. And I will openly admit this. It was good. I don't think it was great. It was solid for what it was worth. I think both men did very well. They told a good story. The match was solid. At the end of the day, I just felt like we knew Punk was going to win. There was no way Punk was losing in his hometown in Chicago. They were not going to pull that proverbial trigger on him. So, yeah, solid win, good victory. And for Darby Allin, look, you can't fault him on this loss. He worked really well. He busted his butt on this one. The outcome was solid. So I really got nothing bad to say. I thought it's a solid 3-star match. And yeah, there's nothing to add here. So Anthony, it's yours.
You definitely underscored this one, MF. With all due respect, I got to give this 3 3/4 to 4 stars. I mean, 7+ years passed between CM Punk's last match and his performance Sunday night. It is almost incomprehensible that someone could take off after losing their passion for a sport he devoted his life to, and come back able to have the sort of match he did against Darby Allin at All Out. Punk's entire return has been special, but the real test was his ability to prove he could still hang with today's talent and the youthful energy they bring, not to mention an in-ring style that has evolved since he was last a full-time performer. He did just that, though, proving he is still as smart and talented a worker as anyone. Allin is a pit bull of a performer, and the elder wrestler kept pace with him throughout. Once the early rust was shaken off, he was the star of the match, as he should be. Better yet, Darby Allin looked like an absolute star, hanging with one of the most prominent names of an entire generation. He will recover just fine and be more beloved than ever as a result. So I, with all due respect, disagree with MF's rating. I think you underscored it quite a bit.
Nope.
3 3/4. What's that?
Nope. Because it was slow and plotty in some points. And on top of that, I mean, don't get me wrong. You're right about certain things. Yes, it was an excellent match. Yes, it was, I just feel like you're being prisoner of the moment. Sorry, my thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I am. But anyways, 3.5 to 3 3/4, teetering maybe on 4, but I think 3.5 to 3 3/4. This is an agree to disagree. I mean, I thought it had potential to be a 5-star classic. It was not, but I agree with you in that aspect. It could have been, it wasn't quite the show stealer we thought it would be. I give you that, but just a slight underscore. 3.5, 3 3/4 for me. So maybe teetering on 4, but not much more to say. So Michael Bullock, first off, do you agree with my rating or do you agree with MF's rating? And secondly, how did Cousin Tori like this match?
Oh, she enjoyed it. She enjoyed it. I mean, and obviously enjoying seeing her man basically get the win in his first match in over 7 years. So she was mightily pleased about it. So 3.5 stars is my rating. I mean, was slow at times, but look, it's CM Punk's first match in over 7 years, and you don't expect him to come out of the box right away and basically expect him to be the same guy that he was when he left WWE. But he looked real good. I mean, give it some time, and he'll be that guy again. I believe that. So, yeah, and Darby Allin, I think he looked good even in defeat. So, yeah, the outcome was never in doubt. There was no way he was losing in front of that home crowd. So, there's really nothing more to say. 3.5 stars for me. So Fletch, I mean, as I give it to you, give it some time. I mean, it was his first match in over 7 years, and I believe he'll be that guy again. That's what I think. As I give it to you, Fletch.
All right, so we'll just move right on along. Next up, we had was QT Marshall versus Paul White. Paul White wins the match in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I believe this goes to Anthony. So, quick thought.
Worst fight of the night. This was a dud. I'm sorry. Paul White wanted to prove he still has something to offer as an in-ring performer when he signed with AEW. Despite the effort and the passion, it was clear he is not moving nearly well enough to contribute as a wrestler right now. That the 49-year-old didn't exactly have the strongest story or the most electric dance partners in QT Marshall and the factory didn't help. Despite his drive and determination to perform for the live crowd, White is better utilized backstage and on commentary as part of Dark Elevation with the great Tony Schiavone. So there isn't much more for me to say. This was a dud for me. I'm sorry. If I'm being too severe on this, whatevs. So not much more. But the only positive is it did serve its purpose, for being a cool down fight. So not much more for me to say on this. Dud for me, worst fight of the night by a country mile. Bullet.
Sorry, dud for me as well. I mean, but the one thing I will give, and like Anthony just said, I mean, they needed a cool down fight after what we saw with Punk and Darby Allin, especially from that Chicago crowd. So, I mean, that's the one thing I'll give. As far as the match, don't really care. Move on, Fletch.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. I'll openly admit it. A lot of people said that they enjoyed the bathroom break. Some people kind of didn't really care about the match at all. This is one of those moments where it was a swing and a miss for AEW. We get it. You need to end the storyline in a way. Not good, guys. Not good. Next up, main event, Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage. Kenny Omega wins it, successfully defends the title, 21 minutes and 20 seconds, and then a whole craziness broke out. The Elite comes out, tries to do a beatdown. Jurassic Express comes out to make a save, but they were getting torn apart. Omega on the mic, cuts a promo, interrupted by Adam Cole. Adam Cole is now all Elite. He comes out and lays out Jungle Boy with a super kick out of nowhere. He joins the Elite. He is back with his brothers in arms, and it seemed like, oh no, the Elite just got stronger. Well, there's an equalizer. His name is the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. He now joins AEW, and boys, it looks like there's a line in the sand, and it looks like a war is about to explode. Christian Cage, Jurassic Express, and Bryan Danielson versus the Elite. Oh my goodness. What a way to close All Out. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, this to me was the second best fight of the night here. I'll give it about a 4.5. I mean, I thought it was a good match here. I mean, certainly a good way to close out, and especially with all the things you had. I mean, Adam Cole showing up at All Elite Wrestling and lays out Jungle Boy, and just when you thought that the Elite got stronger, well, like you said, Fletch, there was an equalizer, and it was the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and oh boy, I mean, things are really heating up now, so yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
Solid main event, at least 4.25 stars. The outcome was never in doubt. We all knew Kenny Omega was going to win it. We all knew that was going to happen. We did not know Adam Cole was going to show up. That caught us all by surprise. We all got caught flat-footed on that one. That's incredible. That was awesome. Him joining the Elite shocked me, though. I know the story. I saw it happen in Ring of Honor when they killed Adam Cole. I cannot believe he went back to them. But he did. But then Bryan Danielson shows up. Oh my God. What? All right. How's that going to be? What's this going to look like? Just wait, guys. It gets really interesting now. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Second best fight of the night, 4.25 stars. Kudos to Christian Cage for doing what he has done his entire career by overperforming and earning every accolade ever given to him. Rarely is there a star who is the picture of consistency that he is, but remains as undervalued and underappreciated as Captain Charisma. He entered this show without a ton of buzz, and he had a killer main event match with the world champion to again prove why he belongs in the conversation with the best workers of his generation. And with that, a wrestling company completed the most substantial blow to WWE since the Eric Bischoff-led WCW came looking for a fight 2 decades ago. In one night, AEW produced CM Punk's first match in 7 years, stole a coveted free agent away in Adam Cole, and debuted one of WWE's top stars of the last decade in the former Daniel Bryan. While the intent to put Vince McMahon and company out of business may not be there, to suggest there is no competition after All Out would be to promote one's own obliviousness. This was a statement night for Tony Khan and his company, and the ending of the show with the crowd chanting AEW was reminiscent of the hardcore devotion fans once had for the movement ECW at once championed, with the money to fund a star-studded roster, of course. We will remember Sunday night as the emphasis for a new battle for pro wrestling supremacy, even if the sentiment isn't quite what it was before. 4.25 stars. Let's get to the overall review.
I don't think there's any debate on this one. This was at least 9 to 9.5 out of 10. If it wasn't for the QT Marshall match, and if it wasn't for that, maybe the ending of the match between Miro and Eddie Kingston, this would be a perfect 10. I mean, I can only give it maybe, the highest I could give is 9.5. And still, that's the show of the year, the pay-per-view of the year, the best AEW show that we've seen. It's without a doubt. It's as good of a show. It's near perfection, but it doesn't get it. 9.5 out of 10 for me, and that is as good as you could have gotten it. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
I pretty much said my piece just a moment ago. I mean, 9 to 9.5, absolutely. This is where we're going to do a lot of agreeing here. We have a year-end. We have a year-end awards show. Barring a pay-per-view that ends up being better than this, this is the pay-per-view of 2021. No doubt about it. This is going to win that award by a landslide. No doubt about it. The crowd, commentary, the surprises. And I got to tell you guys, I came across a gentleman on YouTube. Wait, if you saw his reaction video, if you saw what he did when Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan showed up, you're going to get the best laugh you've had in a long time, because this dude absolutely lost his bleep, if I can be honest with you. I mean, you have to see it to believe it. I'm going to link it down to our private chat box, and I'm going to include the timestamps for those epic reactions. Wait till you see what this guy does. It is so funny. I couldn't stop laughing. It was so hysterical. So, but anyways, all kidding aside, 9 to 9.5, and you want to talk about a home run? They had a home run and then some. This was an upper decker, no doubt about that. I mean, if this was Wrigley Field, they hit it all the way down on. They hit this thing even past Lansdowne Street, or whatever that famous street is down there. So so there isn't much more to say on this. This is a 9 to 9.5 out of 10 pay-per-view of the year, and just a night and a moment to remember, a banner moment for the world of professional wrestling, and a banner Sunday night, coupled with the epic Notre Dame Florida State game, which I know we'll address a little bit tomorrow night on College Football Thursday. So not much more for me to say on this. 9 to 9.5. I pretty much had my piece when I wrapped up the main event. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, what a night.
What a night indeed. It far exceeded our expectations. We knew this was going to be something really good, and it delivered. 9 to 9.5 for me. I mean, everybody's going to be talking about that steel cage tag team title match with the Luchas and the Young Bucks. So, and of course, CM Punk's first match in over 7 years. I mean, my gosh. I mean, what a night. I mean, there's really nothing more to add here. 9.5, pay-per-view of the year as far as I'm concerned as well. So there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, let's quickly go into NXT.
Quickly, we definitely will. Started off with Kaylee Ray versus Ember Moon. Kaylee Ray wins the match in 14 minutes and 40 seconds. Oh my word. What a jump. What a way to start the match. What a way to start everything on that one. Tremendous to say the very least. Incredible start to NXT. My dudes, I gotta give this easily 3.5 to 3 3/4. This was excellent. Anthony Florio, go.
3.5, 3 3/4. Kaylee Ray is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world today. Ember Moon is not all that far behind as she continues to find her stride after returning from a career-threatening injury. This match was everything it needed to be and more. The War Goddess pushed Ray to be her best. The former NXT UK Women's Champion overwhelmed the former champion and recent challenger without resorting to any underhanded tactics. It was a great way to introduce KLR to a new audience. When the time is right, Raquel Gonzalez may be facing the woman who could truly dethrone her. This is a match that will be absolutely must see. 3.5, 3 3/4. Michael Bullock, here's another example of why your NXT women's division is hands down the best in professional wrestling today.
And this is why. 3.5, 3 3/4. I agree with the rating. I mean, yeah, Kaylee Ray shows why she was the longest reigning NXT UK Women's Champion over there in NXT UK. I mean, Ember Moon looked good in defeat, and yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before Kaylee Ray gets a shot at the NXT Women's title, and that will be the biggest threat to Raquel Gonzalez. So nothing else to say, Fletch. Let's move on.
Santos Escobar versus Carmelo. Hey, Santos Escobar wins it 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Florio is yours.
The NXT breakout star of 2021 continues to impress. While he may not have ideal WWE size, he has dazzled in every other way. He comes off as a star and could have easily beaten Escobar here without anyone being truly shocked. In the end, the Emperor of Lucha Libre remains the priority. He is just waiting for his North American title bout against Isaiah Swerve Scott. This was a showcase of the title scene around Swerve. It looks very good. 3 1/4, teetering on 3.5 for this as well. Another top fight of the night. Michael Bullock, you got a potential diamond in the rough here.
This I definitely got a diamond in the rough with Carmelo Hayes here. So, 3.5 stars. I mean, this was a good match here, and no surprise that Santos Escobar going over because they're building towards him facing Isaiah Swerve Scott for the North American Championship. So, nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll give you that too. So there's really nothing more to add. I'll give it a 3. I say 3 1/4. So next up we had was the Creed brothers. They went up against some enhancement talents. Creed brothers wins the match in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Move on along. All right, here we go. One of the big matches of the evening. It was Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter going up against Io Shirai and Zoe Stark for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Winners of the bout, 8 minutes and 25 seconds. And still, the NXT Women's Tag Team champions, the Genius in the Sky, Io Shirai and Zoe Stark, they've done it. You know, there was that talk about maybe dissension, maybe because of the language barrier, the East and the West connection. Well, it did not happen. Michael Bullock, the champions remain the champions.
2.5 stars is my rating on the match. I mean, it was definitely good, and I mean, good for what it was. I mean, the outcome was never in doubt. I mean, they certainly overcame everything, and after that, I mean, Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter get attacked by that new duo with Mandy Rose, and basically they're sending a message not just to Saray, but I guess to the NXT Women Tag Team Champions that they want those belts and they want to show why they will soon be the future stars of NXT. So Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, a little disappointed. My heart breaks because you know how much I love Kaden and Casey. But look, great performance. About 2.5 stars. Could have been a lot more different, but look, the outcome was never in doubt. It is what it is. It happened. But let me tell you, man, what a big win for them, more than anything else, and a big victory for Io Shirai and for Zoe Stark. I mean, there was that, you didn't know, were they going to be able to coexist? Were they able to work together? Well, they did, and they're still the champions because of it. So, big win for the champions. Anthony, it's yours.
2.5 to 3. This was a solid title match that should have been better given the talent. The story told of Io Shirai refusing to work with Zoe Stark slowed the action, but it did not lead to much by the close. This was more of a sequence of fun moves than a genuine great match. Still, it is difficult for Shirai and Stark to have anything less than a good match. Carter and Catanzaro fought hard, though they looked awkwardly outmatched despite their momentum coming in. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane seemed to have entered the title scene with Mandy Rose giving them a spotlight. God's greatest creation is sporting the nose mask for a while, but remains unknown star who can aid credibility to this fresh pairing. 2.5 to 3 for this, so let's move on.
Now we got another throwaway match as it was Ming Yang versus Virginia. Ming Yang wins the match in 49 seconds. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that at all. we do get into the main event. MSK versus Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan. And MSK successfully defends the titles 12 minutes and 20 seconds. Strong main event. Very good match. I gotta say, this was well done. Very good match. Really nothing more to add here. This was about another 3.5 star match. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
3.25 to 3.5. Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch have been missed in a wrestling ring. They looked great against MSK, pushing the champions more than most of their competitors have. However, it never felt like the heels could truly get the win. Earlier in the night, Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland clearly separated themselves from Lorcan and Burch, so the turn was telegraphed. It'll be interesting to watch what comes out of it. Hopefully, the hard-hitting tag team is not forgotten because of their age. Dunne and Holland can be a dominant duo on their own. This pairing fits better as direct rivals to Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, while adding a unique tag team to a division that could use a few more challengers. 3.25, 3.5 stars for this. Michael Bullock, solid tag title match to close out this solid edition of NXT last night.
Yeah, 3.25, 3.5. I mean, solid main event. I mean, the outcome was never in doubt. And yeah, Ridge Holland, Pete Dunne turning on Lorcan and Burch, I mean, to me was the right thing here. And that they can go on their own. So we're going to have to wait and see how everything develops here. So a nice main event to close out a solid NXT. So Fletch, let's quickly get to our overall thoughts.
All right, Anthony Florio, you lead off.
7.5 for me. We only had 2 delicious squash matches. That's really the only criticism. All the other matches were solid to good to great, and it sets the table for a nice show for the start of the quote unquote new era coming up on Tuesday night, which of course will be headlined by the Index wedding, obviously, and Frankie Monet out of nowhere is gonna get a shot at Raquel Gonzalez in the NXT Women's Championship. What an opportunity for the former Taya Valkyrie to add another women's title to her already impressive resume. Reina Del Reyes, right, MF? Didn't she hold that?
Yes.
Yep. And I believe he said she was the longest holder of that.
Longest reigning champion in the history of the company.
Yep. And, of course, also the longest Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion on top of that. So what an opportunity for her. And a couple of other things that I can't remember off the top of my head, but those are the big standouts. Of course, the Index wedding. That's what we're all going to have our eye on, obviously. But the other stuff's going to be good, too. Hopefully with this new era, it will definitely get, it won't be as bad as people are saying it will be. So just give it a chance. That's all we ask. Just give it a chance. That's all. 7.5 for me, leading more towards 7.5. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, next week, it's going to be out with the old and in with the new.
Yeah, 7 to 7.5 for me. I mean, this was a good show. I mean, yeah, I'll give it a chance with this new era of NXT, even though I've not really that high on it because of 2 guys that are running it, which I just got a bad feeling with, but we'll wait and see. So nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
All right, and now we're going to go very quickly into AEW Dynamite. Started it off with Malachi Black versus Dustin Rhodes. Malachi Black wins the match in 9 minutes and 57 seconds. Look, good solid opener. Good match. Strong fight. I really got nothing bad to say. This was about 3 stars. Nothing more to add. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, 2.5 to 3 stars. It was rarely pretty, but this was a good, hard-fought, physical wrestling bout to kick off the show. It could be argued that Dustin got too much offense in on Black, but he is a future Hall of Famer with tons of credibility, so the idea that he would give Black his toughest challenge yet makes sense. The physicality of the match, including the blood evident on both bodies, helped put over the intense dislike between the competitors. The outcome was the right one and further supports the idea that Black will come back Cody at some point in the near future. There's just a logical conclusion to this story. Hopefully it does not go the predictable route of the American Nightmare getting his win back. Gentlemen, oh, by the way, the rematch, Malachi Black, Cody Rhodes, get ready, boys. 2 weeks from tonight, Arthur Ashe Stadium. Let's go. So Not much more to say on that. 2.5 to 3. So Michael Bullock, Malachi Black, Cody Rhodes, 2 in 2 weeks at Arthur Ashe Stadium. How about it, man?
Yeah, I definitely cannot wait to see that happen at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Cody Rhodes and Malachi Black going at it again. So, yeah, 2.5 to 3 for the match. I mean, it was a solid way to start it off. I mean, but the outcome to me was never in doubt. So, Fletch, it is yours.
Yeah, so then after that, CM Punk cuts a promo, interrupted by Team Taz, and it looks like we're going to get a match between him and Powerhouse Hobbs down the line. So we're going to open forum this. If anybody wants to talk about it, you are more than welcome to.
Yeah, it's not Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs was coming out for his match. I think they're building towards CM Punk going against absolute Ricky Starks, and that could be an interesting match. So, but as far as this goes, it was a stellar in-ring promo that created even more excitement for the recent developments in the company and shined a light on what's next for CM Punk in his journey up the card in AEW. This was the epitome of a multitasking segment. Punk remains as engaging and energizing as he ever was and appears to be having as much fun inside the ring as he ever has. The product benefits, the fans remain invested, and Punk has the opportunity to write the next chapter of his career the way he sees fit, all while being the face and spokesperson for wrestling's hottest promotion right now. So, great promo, but then again, he's always had great promos, so there isn't much more to say. I mean, Michael Bullock, if you want to address it, feel free, but there's one quick thing that needs to be addressed, and Michael Bullock and I know we're going to have some fun with this, some serious good fun. Bullock, I mean, what a great nod when CM Punk, gave that special shout out to the late Brian Pillman's Aunt Linda. I mean, I mean, if you saw that dark side of the ring like Bullock and I did, I mean, what CM Punk said about her, absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely spot on there by CM Punk with what he did there. So, yeah, it was a great promo, and I definitely am interested to see a CM Punk and Ricky Starks feud, and he may go through every member of Team Taz, and yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. And one more thing, Fletch, as I give it to you, Taz has become a real asshole as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he likes to start up crap, and quite frankly, Taz, you need to, for your boys, you need to put up or shut up, because CM Punk, let's just say he's master of dropping pipe bombs, and if you're not careful, Taz, he may drop a pipe bomb on you, and quite frankly, you deserve it.
Yeah. So next up that we had, then it led us to Powerhouse Hobbs versus Dante Martin. Powerhouse Hobbs wins in 8 minutes and 17 seconds. Because we open form this is actually official. So Anthony, you get to lead off on this one.
Yeah, short and sweet. This was a nice showcase for two young stars with a boatload of potential and bright futures in AEW. Hobbs is such an unstoppable force with a mix of athleticism and punishing power that would make him seemingly unbeatable if he were more experienced. We saw how quickly he can end a bout here, plucking Martin out of the air with a spine buster. The placement of this match and the challenge by Punk moments earlier suggests he might be next up for the Chicago native. That's a hell of a spot for him if that's where things are going. Martin has made the absolute most of every opportunity he has been granted since he was forced into singles competition following his brother's injury. He has been great, maximizing his minutes with show-stealing performances. He did that in short order this week, mixing his aerial assaults with an intensity needed to succeed at the next level. Martin will be a future star. Performances like this and his showing against the Elite will make it difficult to see him back in the tag team division. Solid 3 stars for me. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Oh, what did you give it, Florio?
3 stars.
Yeah, I'll give it an even 3 stars. I mean, it was short and sweet and to the point, and I'll tell you what, Dante Martin continues to really impress me. I mean, even though the outcome was never in doubt with Powerhouse Hobbs, so nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 3 star, solid match. Nothing more to say. I don't even want to get into this next part. Fearing of a rage and somebody exploding on this panel. So I'm not even gonna dignify this one. MJF with Brian Pillman Jr. Absolutely disgusting display I saw here tonight by MJF, stooping to a new low. We got to sell the rivalry now between he just crossed hairs with the Varsity Blondes. There is no doubt in my mind there's going to be a war now. Brian Pillman Jr. is going to be looking for blood more than ever before now after what just happened. This was absolutely total disrespect. Absolute, you want to talk about unbelievable what he did. I mean, absolutely offensive beyond belief. I am shocked AEW allowed that to happen. But next up we did have was Ruby Soho versus Jamie Hayter. Ruby Soho won the match in 7 minutes and 52 seconds, and then Britt Baker tried to jump Ruby, and actually Rio came out to try to make the save. Then Hayter cut her off at the pass, only for Chris Statlander to run in and basically call off the dogs on this one. So this was craziness. Who leads off on this? Mike Bullock? So Bullock, it's yours. Soho wins, but then after that, oh my goodness, was there some chaos.
And all I can say is, Fletch, thank goodness you passed us on this promo, and you basically described everything with MJF. Because if you gave it to me,
oh no, I know what would have happened. I know what would have happened if you would have gotten your hands on that. I know.
I would have.
No, yeah, I would have gone. You would have gone.
Yeah, I would have gone Phenom mode, and I really would have gotten my shovel big time. So yeah. As far as this goes, I thought it was a good match, especially with Ruby Soho's first match on Dynamite here. So 2.5 stars is my rating. So good first showing for Ruby Soho on Dynamite. And then I mean, Hayter, Britt Baker, and Rebel trying to get the best of her. Then you got Rio, and then you got Statlander making the save. So yeah, there's a lot to happen somewhere down the line with these 6 women. So nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
I could definitely see a 6-woman tag. Ruby, not Rebel. Actually, Rebel, not Ruby. Other way around. Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander, the Alien. Rio, the first ever AEW Women's World Champion, and Ruby Soho, the number 1 contender for the title. So yeah, I could see a 6-woman tag. That'd be a heck of a fight. As far as this match goes, it wasn't like overly amazing. It was there. It was fine. So I could give this about maybe 2.5. Anthony?
2.5 for me. This was a solid match and a great taste of what is to come from Ruby Soho, one of the more talented wrestlers who, for whatever reason, could never get momentum on her side during her time in WWE. She has a wealth of experience to bring to a relatively young division, all while building her own star. There is a reasonable argument to be made that Jamie Hayter should not be losing matches like this if she is to be taken seriously, as Dr. Britt Baker is heavy. Soho is a credible enough star that Hayter losing to her does little to hurt Hayter's legitimacy. Too much more, though, will call into question her booking. The creative here would suggest a 6-woman tag match is on the horizon. Given the talent involved, that would be a welcome addition to any card. That is, as long as measures are taken to protect those who need it. You can see it? Well, you're gonna see it. It's confirmed, gentlemen. You want a 6-woman? You're going to get a 6-woman. Friday night, AEW Rampage, Dr. Britt Baker, Rebel, not Reba, and Jamie Hayter against Ruby Soho, Riho, and Chris Statland. You wanted that 6-woman, MF? You got it. Friday night, Rampage. Move on.
Okay, here we go. FTR versus the Dark Order. It was a 6-man tag. So it was FTR and Sean Spears versus Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and John Silver. And when it was all said and done, FTR and Sean Spears wins the match in 4 minutes and 23 seconds. But what really came out of this was the tempers. There's a meltdown going down in the Dark Order, and it's getting ugly. It's getting wicked bad. One of the most influential, strongest forces, and most popular team, and one of the most popular groups in AEW is literally on the verge of breaking up, and this is really upsetting me. Like, this was not what was envisioned by Mr. Brody Lee, to see this infighting, to see this possible group exploding right before our very eyes. This was not in the cards. And it's really getting to a point where it's almost tough to watch, even for me. Because I'm a Dark Order. I definitely respect the Dark Order. I love their body of work. I like what they do. And I just feel like, oh my God, man, what the hell? So, I mean, obviously FTR and Sean Spears were going to win. But the infighting is getting so bad. Even, I don't know, you saw it. The fighting was going on. Alex Reynolds tapped out. He's gone. He left the group. He's like, you're on your own, guys. And now it looks like Ty Conte and Anna Jay might be the next two out the door, because they saw the infighting and they're not happy. They are very disappointed in the boys. I don't know what is happening, but dude, there's a breakup imminent, and it's going to be a sad day when the Dark Order splits, because this was the vision of Mr. Brody Lee. He was the one to create this group, and now he's no longer here, and we are possibly on the verge of a breakup of his own faction. Anthony Florio, just go before I really lose it.
The schism in Dark Order continues, but will eventually be resolved by the return of Hangman Adam Page, who should come back just in time to save the group from implosion. That story is one of the more interesting in the company, and should culminate with Page's return to the main event. The Pinnacle winning means little, as one cannot help but think the team has fallen out of favor, even as MJF continues to take on his prominent role as one of the top heels in the company. Match itself was fine, if uneventful, with the typically solid work you expect out of these guys. It felt like a placeholder for all involved. 2 stars for me. Bullet, go.
What did you give it?
2.
Yeah, 2 for me. It's tough for me to watch the potential breakup of the Dark Order, and I hope something happens to resolve this, because, and you know, Brody Lee right now is probably not happy with what he's seeing right now, and I really hope something gets resolved, because this is such a popular group, and if they go forward with this implosion, it's not going to sit well with me, it's not going to sit well with Fletch, it's not going to sit well with Florio, and it's not going to sit well with anybody. So, nothing more to say, Fletch, it's yours.
Main event, guys, Jon Moxley versus Minoru Suzuki. Moxley wins the match in 10 minutes and 13 seconds. Anthony, go.
Yeah, this was great. Let me see. Like the Black Rhodes match that started the show, this was a physical battle that saw blood drawn the hard way and the right guy go over. It was a treat to see Suzuki and AEW as part of the crossover of wrestling companies, but there was no argument to be made in which he went over Moxley here. Some may forget amid the debuts of so many big-name competitors that Moxley was the first star to choose to join AEW upon his contract coming to an end. He necessitated the paradigm shift in professional wrestling, still a huge name with a ton to offer AEW, and no incoming legend should take priority. Moxley earned the spotlight this week and delivered, sending the crowd home happy. His people in his hometown of Cincinnati. 3 to 3.25 stars for me. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, 3.25 for me as well. I mean, there was no way that we're going to have Jon Moxley lose in his hometown of Cincinnati, and Menorah Suzuki definitely gave him a good fight, but in the end, the right person went over. Fletch, it's yours.
3 stars, nothing more to say. Mike Bullock, you got the final say on AEW tonight.
Yeah, I'll give it about 7.5 to 8. I mean, it was a good show. I mean, yeah, had some good matches, but there were some things that I thought could have been better, so nothing else to say. Fletch, go.
7.5 to 8, agreed. Anthony?
7.5 to 8. Let's put a bow on it.
All right, we are done. So tomorrow night is College Football Thursday, hosted by Anthony Florio. We have a lot of action, a lot of games. Plus, we also got a Big 3 championship that was crowned. We got a champion. So we're going to go into that as well. And that is it for the night. So thank you, everybody, as always. Have a wonderful evening. We will see you tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern, on the Tone 25. So until then, for Michael Bullock, for Anthony Florio, I am good old MF Michael Fletcher, saying so long, everybody, and we'll